right. So I want to just invite Lisa to begin with the Sunday rhythm of the Foundation Stone meditation. So we're really going to be combining these amazing gifts from Rudolf Steiner. It's such a powerful week, So we're going to be working with the Foundation Stone rhythms. We're going to be working with the Eightfold Path, the Noble Eightfold Path of the Buddha, that the indications that Steiner gave us with that. And that's a real octave, you go from the old sun to the new sun, and we're going to be working with that, as well as the picture from Holy Week. So there's a lot here. And of course, each person that's going to be hosting the day has whatever they're going to bring, and that'll be coming from their hearts. And hopefully there'll be some artistic exercises, and today we'll do a little breakout group. So to start us off, Lisa. Except you're muted, dear one.
There we go. Practice spirit recalling. Practice spirit sensing. Practice spirit beholding, that good may become what from our hearts we are founding, what from our heads we direct with focused willing.
Thank you. Yeah, if you can see, this is the original handwriting of Dr. Steiner on the top there. And we have the seal for the sun, as well as the dodecahedron. So we're on our way. So yeah, I wanted to start off with telling the story that is presented to us in the Gospel of Matthew, where we hear the good news that the time has come. The stars are aligned, and the great week before Passion begins. So this Holy Week, as I said, it's an octave of 8 days, which allows us this opportunity to reflect upon the shift that's about to happen in human and cosmic evolution, brought to bear through the deeds of Christ at this turning point of time. So today, on Palm Sunday, Christ rides through the gate of Jerusalem, the holy city, upon a lowly donkey, right? A beast of burden, followed by his faithful believers. And this sight, it invokes an image of the God of spring, creating a frenzy in the souls of the people. A few of us on the call here are been working with the fifth gospel, and you can remember how when Jesus of Nazareth was traveling around and he would meet people, he came upon a pagan altar, and the people were still coming, but even though the connection to source was gone. So they were really seeking, they were looking for something, and they didn't know what the new thing was because it hadn't happened yet. And so when they saw this sight that was a fulfillment of the prophecy, this frenzy occurred in their souls. They were seized with this joyful ecstasy and began to unconsciously revive the ancient spring rites. So they started casting down palm branches from the trees. And the palm tree has always been a symbol of the sun that shines in the spring sky with renewed strength. And those who follow the Christian path know that they become the ashes of Lent that start the Eastertide season. So there's this cyclical energy happening here, which we see quite a bit in the festival life. But on this day, The crowd adorns the path with this symbol of the sun. And they're asking each other, is this the friend? Is this the Lord of the sun who's been promised to us, the great king of the light? Is the original spiritual significance of Jerusalem to be released from its enchantment? Because the holy city once sheltered one of the oldest sun sanctuaries of humankind on Mount Zion, before it was overshadowed by Mount Moriah, the Mount of the Moon, with the Temple of Solomon. So they're asking themselves, has the time of Melchizedek, the great sun initiate, come back? They didn't know quite what to make of it, but they could feel the energy shifting and changing. So it would appear as though the Christ had now finally found entrance into the hearts of humanity. The sun spirit of the cosmic Christ had already lived for 3 years in the human body of Jesus of Nazareth, taking on the earthly destiny of humanity. And yet, through all the hosannas and hallelujahs, Christ Jesus held back and kept silent. For he knew that his destiny was not to be found in an atavistic, ecstatic jubilation. No. This prophecy fulfilled was just the beginning of the most solemn week in human history. The same men who joyfully laid down the palm branches, singing fervent hosannas, would be shrieking with fanatical hatred a few days later, crucify him, crucify him. I always think of Jesus Christ Superstar. I don't know if you all, I'm singing the song in my head right now. So yeah, the cross on Golgotha, right? The symbol of death is the companion of the palm branch, the symbol of life. Again, we see this connection and these reversals coming together. So it's the Christ himself, really, his countenance, his demeanor really kind of brings about this sudden reversal of feeling. For he passes through the ecstatic crowd in silence with a grave knowing. He sees through the superficial cheers. He knows too well that the people are unconscious. And as the Christ, he aims to bring humanity the sacrificial gift of the awakened eye through his deed on Golgotha, which allows the birth of the new sun of Easter, the higher octave to this day of the old sun. So that's in a little encapsulation there, our picture for Palm Sunday. Does anyone have a comment or a question or anything to add at this point before we go on?
If you do, you're welcome to either raise your hand with your reactions under reactions in the lower left corner, or to unmute.
Well, we'll have time to talk more later too. So I just wanted to just leave a little breathing space here and take us into the weekday exercises. This is Steiner's renewal of the Buddha's Noble Eightfold Path to Enlightenment is what it's called, the Eightfold Path to Enlightenment. Yeah, so Sunday is all about inner steadfastness, the practice of wholesome judgment, the creating of right resolves and intentions. So, we're to be guided, whenever we make a decision Even, Steiner says, even on the most insignificant things, only after a fully reasoned deliberation. All unthinking behavior, all meaningless actions should be kept far from the soul, right? So sort of the opposite of what's happening on Palm Sunday, where people are unconscious. So we must always strive to have well-weighed reasons for everything that we think and do or say. An easy thing to say, but not so easy to do. But we can practice, and that's what these exercises are for. You know, once we're convinced of the rightness of our decision, you know, Steiner says we have to hold fast to it. And this gives us an inner steadfastness. And he calls it wholesome judgment, having been formed independently of sympathies and antipathies. Yeah, that's another hard one. So yeah, I don't know if folks have been working with these weekday exercises. They're very powerful. And on Easter Sunday, Dottie Zold will give us a little report from her work working with the elderberries. You know, it used to be printed on the menu of the cafe in Los Angeles. So we'll hear about her experiences with it. But for now, I want you to do some work. So today is the old sun. And for the breakout rooms, the question is, how can you use wholesome judgment to make the resolve to let go of all the old ways of thinking, feeling, and willing that keeps you stuck in the old unconscious ways? This is actually Passover as well right now. And, you know, it's all about this idea of passing through that, the narrow straits, right? Getting unstuck. So I'm going to ask you to think about that. You know, what old things do you want to get rid of, you know, so that you can create an intention to compost, right? We can use a biodynamic term, right? You know, to let go of those old habits that no longer serve, to, you know, release that energy, to allow the higher octave of the Easter sun to rise in your life. So does that make sense? Everybody got that idea? And so Lisa's going to help us go into the breakout rooms. We're going to have 3 folks in each room. You know, each person can have 3 minutes to ruminate about this question I just threw at you. And, you know, we'll come back in about 10. You got that?
I could talk.
Sure.
We kind of talked about going through grief, letting go of, you know, it could be like strong lessons we're learning, materialistic thinking. We have to detach, you know, and allow other people to go their own path. And, you know, this is a lesson I'm really learning right now. So
It's a good lesson. Yep.
really, really awesome talking on that theme of the grief that we're going through, of loss and old friends gone, old, you know, family gone, you know, that kind of thing. So.
Well, I could say something here. Hi, everybody. I'm in Vancouver, Canada, and that was just such a loaded question, Hazel, that I didn't really know whether I wanted to be put into a breakout room without having time to think about it. But then I found myself in this group, and of course I had to take part, and it was wonderful because Elizabeth spoke first, and then that touched off something in me, and then we had 2 others, and it was just very valuable. I want to thank you for that, even though I didn't have time to think about anything with that question.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to let it come out, whatever's in there. And then now you have chance. After we get off the call, you can think, oh, this is a work that I can do throughout the spring.
I had a profound experience of just simply being present with. In fact, that was my thing, to be present with what's happening, what's me, with someone else, and what is happening even in the group. And just listening to there was the four of us, and it just felt amazing. And even what Pam, I posted it in the chat, but what Pam had said about listening to other women, I mean, that feels kind of magical to me, actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what is happening here in the group with all of our expressing this at the beginning of this Holy Week? It feels very lovely. Thank you for all being here.
Great. I think Rosemary had her hand up. I think we could probably, if people want to stay on the call afterwards, we can do that. But I want to make sure we stay to our time, and I do have a little thing at the end that I want to do. So maybe one more thing, Rosemary, and then we'll do the thought seed, and then people that want to stay on, we can do that.
Okay. I just thought it was remarkable that 3 out of 4 of us resolved to go to sleep earlier and get up earlier to have an early morning power of the sun rising for our beginning of our day, our early meditation.
Perfect. Yes, highly recommended. I was telling the crowd before we started that at 4 o'clock, when I usually get up 4:30, and the birds were already singing. So there's a lot going on at that time, and we can be part of it. It's such a magical time. My friend Deborah, who's here, hi Deborah, she's an expert at going to the sunrise every morning. So yeah, it's, especially during Holy Week. All right, thank you. And again, you all can stay if you like afterwards. But for now, I really would like to bring to our attention this, just to kind of round out our time here, this practice of building up a positive imagination on the inner planes, and how powerful that is as a counterforce to all those adversarial energies that are working in the world, to co-create what Dion Fortune named as a key call, a key that opens us to the spiritual powers that wait for us to rise in our thinking, to enlist their aid. So we're going to use this verse here by Herbert Hahn as an anchor for this group thought form, this positive egregore that we can create with a willed visualization. So we're going to be doing this all week, and many of us have been working with this for since I think October or something. And you can create pictures, and it's not just about the verse, but you can create beautiful pictures. But for now, just picture yourself as a being of light. When I think light, my soul shines. When my soul shines, the earth is a star. When the earth is a star, then I am a true human being. Yeah, I mean, even just those simple words can really create an amazing picture. And we've been doing this 10:10 in the morning, 10:10 at night for a while now. And you can do it too in your own time zone. And perhaps you'll want to take it up even after the Holy Week, because together our goodwill becomes a cosmic energy field for healing. Right? We're planting seeds, seed ideas in the group mind of humanity to really, we're co-creating our highest intentions for cosmic and human evolution, which is what we see in Holy Week, what the mystery of Golgotha brings us, that the earth may become a sacred planet, a sun, and every human being a star. So what is sown in our shining thoughts will grow and bear seeds. So I usually like to close this by doing the reversed Hahn verse, which really helps us picture our destiny fully manifested. I am a true human being, for the earth is a star. The earth is a star when my soul shines. My soul shines when I think light. So yeah, let us think light this beautiful Palm Sunday. And I hope you'll join us tomorrow. We have Christine Burke is going to bring us the right word. And thank you all for being here. And I will just say, fare thee well for those who would like to go. And if people want to stick around and talk about the question we had in the chat, that would be great. I'm willing to stay for a little bit of time. And if not, we'll see you tomorrow. Blessings and peace. And thank you, Lisa, for hosting. Really appreciate it. Did anyone have any comments or questions? Or what about the Palm Sunday story? That's pretty interesting stuff, huh? That whole old way of the Sun King, right? And all of that.
Yeah, that's Hazel. That's what our group seemed to sort of grab a hold of. We each seemed to be grabbed by the imagination you brought for us of that the people responded to Jesus's entry out of this old atavistic anticipation, experience, expectation, and that really grabbed us. That we all maybe, we sort of resonated with that, how we maybe do that ourselves, that we have the old stuff, the old ways of being, the old ways of engaging religion, the old ways of engaging spirit, that as we go through our life begin to not sustain us or not be sustainable. And so it begins to die, and it languishes, and then it begins to die. And we know something is wrong, but we don't know anything better. We even maybe search for something better, and we grab a hold of what comes along, like your story from Jesus out of the fifth gospel. We grab a hold of anything that comes and we say, this is it. And we try to revive the embers. Yeah. We blow and blow. And so we just were really grabbed by that imagination. And then the following one, that sort of what happens next with how when Jesus didn't respond the way that they were deeply yearning for, they turned on him. Because again, out of that atavistic and out of that sort of past experience, we have this idea of what it should be, of what it needs to be, what we need it to be. And when that desire is not fulfilled, then we swing from this over sympathy reaction to this over antipathy reaction. So we were just paying attention to how we can be really like the people in Jerusalem.
Yeah, thank you. It is such a lovely picture. All of these pictures that we're going to receive through Holy Week, it really, we have this opportunity to live into them every year, and it's such a blessing. So much to learn.
Could you identify that painting again, please?
Giotto?
Giotto, yeah.
Giotto, thank you. Yeah, you can find that on the internet. There's a lot of really amazing images from Holy Week, and in particular Palm Sunday, which are quite compelling. Art really speaks, doesn't it?
One thing that people might not know is that Sunday, for the foundation stone meditation, the concentration is on the we. It's on the first person plural, and the quote from the last panel of the foundation stone, it's an invocation of the group. So the fact that this is a huge public gathering for Palm Sunday is appropriate.
Beautiful, thank you. I love all the connections here that we're making. It's beautiful.
Audio now unmuted. Audio now unmuted. I have a thought.
Yes, please. Somebody had a thought?
I thought it was interesting that the painting, I think, had Mary Magdalene, perhaps. That all the followers had a halo, an aura, except for the apparently feminine figure,
Mm,
one step away from Christ.
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to talk about Mary Magdalene on Wednesday. So she's gonna take front stage on that. So don't worry about that. Yeah. Anybody else have anything to say before we close for today?
I do.
Great.
Our little group with Leslie and Mary Tom was very sweet. And when you talked about feeling, first of all, feeling stuck, it brought up the image of that that container cargo ship in the Suez Canal. It's unsustainable to begin with, and it's blocking traffic both ways, and it seems fairly hopeless. But Leslie brought up that in the spiritual world, we don't need the numbers. Numbers don't matter. The number of people or energies behind something doesn't matter like it does in the material. And therefore, it's much more possible to manifest if we don't impose the limitations that we have in the material world upon our spiritual life. So that was encouraging. And Leslie, I hope I got that right. And Mary Tom also talked about becoming mindful of all the little excuses that she has made for in the habit of blocking herself from doing, the right thing. And I think she was getting to making a commitment about being more mindful about those little excuses. And then I shared my experience of the labyrinth, which I already had written to you about, of creating this spring equinox labyrinth that was done in sidewalk chalk on top of a shuffleboard court. And so I doused the perfect location and orientation where the juiciest current was to align this labyrinth with, which did not match up with the shuffleboard court, the visible lines on the shuffleboard court. And I did great until about a quarter of the way through and drew a line in error. And when I realized it, trying to erase it only made it worse and made my mistake more visible. And then I surrendered and realized, okay, I lost my awareness. I lined up with the visible old grid instead of following the new juicy invisible grid, and let this scar be a beautiful reminder of that.
Beautiful. Thank you so
I'll
much.
follow up on what Rivers was saying, just that I had the piece about the numbers being a material rule, materialistic rule, and not the rule of the spiritual world. I got that from Lisa Romero, who has been doing some Easter preparation videos the last 3 Saturdays, and I'm sure that they're recorded. And it's through a group called egregore, if you wanted to look that up. And she's been wonderful, and she's just talking about the ways that we can work to counter the forces, the growing forces of Ahriman, in a more general view. And she considered this as part of the Easter preparation.
What do you mean numbers?
Oh, the numbers of people. So she said you can look around the material world and be, your heart can be heavy with the number of people who seem to be moving in, a different direction than, what I would consider progress and increasing spiritual progress. And she said, no, you don't need to feel depressed about that, because the rule of numbers and majority, that's a rule of the material world. And in the spiritual world, a very small number of people can actually affect enormous change.
So
And that
you're
was just very
talking
interesting for me.
quantity, not quality.
quantity, not quality. Thank
Yeah.
you. Perfect.
But it's also, the idea that when we started doing the thought seed meditation, that was also part of the picture, that it only takes the square root of any number of people to create change. So people that are into mathematics, because mathematics can be, like a beautiful, sublime, truth, which, we sort of lack these days, and numbers get, used, they put into these graphs and all of this kind of thing to prove whatever anybody wants to prove, right? Which is kind of dangerous. Just like you can quote scripture to say what you wanted to say, or Rudolf Steiner for that matter, right? But, the idea is that, it just takes that small number of people that are holding the light, that are holding this vision, that we can create the earth as a sun. And that's how it can happen. So I totally agree that's our job. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
And Hazel, can I put that into perspective, like give the numbers? So if we wanted to affect all 7.9 billion people on the planet, it still sounds like a large number, but it only takes 88,881 people to have that egregore, that same thought, that same intention to actually lift the entire planet.
All those eights, that's interesting, right? That figure 8, the lemniscate. I thought that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really magic. I got a little shiver there. You ever, if people that are into math, the magic square, have you ever seen that? The way the numbers are, there's a real power there if we use it for truth. Oh, we got another number here from Joffrey. Yeah. Interesting. Anyone else have something to share?
I do.
Great.
I think I understand a bit more about why the people turned on the Christ and what they were asking him to do, and that they really didn't understand this new thing that he was bringing to them, because what he was bringing down was the objective capacity of love that has nothing to do with the physical manifestation of the human. It was all to do with the aspects of the to unite with the entirety of humanity. And because he couldn't give them that physical demonstration, they turned on the physical manifestation that couldn't give them what they wanted. It's kind of like hero worship versus we really do respect and adore this person until he doesn't do what we want him to do.
Right. And plus the people actually have to change and start to do things themselves. It can't be given to them anymore. And I mean, we're still trying to do that. It's only been a couple thousand years, and we're still trying to understand this mystery of Golgotha, aren't we? Even his disciples didn't really quite get it. Thank you for that.
Any other thoughts? Lydia? Are you waving goodbye? Or do you want to say hi?
Well, thank you so much, friends. This has been a very, very fulfilling start. And I'm just so grateful that we're all on this journey together. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'm going to open the room up at 10 minutes to 10, so you can come in and chat if you like. But we will start at exactly 10 a.m. To get through all the beautiful things. So until then, peace.
Thank you, Hazel and Lisa. Thank you so much for your efforts.